Hi everyone. So we are continuing the algebra module and we are starting with chapter F today. So chapter F has the first topic, which is higher order equations and inequations. So far we have seen in chapter E linear equation and quadratic equation. Now we are going to do higher order equations. So obviously the first part, the basic ideas and the concepts related to the higher order equation, starting with the cubic equation and then probably fourth power and all of that. And then comes a very different thing, remainder theorem, quick recap of the school days, and then higher order inequations. So let's first start with the basics of higher order equations. And obviously, since we have done till quadratic in the previous topic, we are going to do cubic equation now. So as usual, two things that you should be aware of as far as any equation is concerned. One is the standard form and second is the graph of that equation. So the standard form of cubic equation is obviously in continuation with what we have been seeing so far, which will be ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d is equal to 0 as long as a is not equal to 0, and degree is 3 obviously, and hence any cubic equation when we factorize we always have 3 roots of the cubic equation. And then the graph of the cubic equation is basically going to be any random general curve intersecting the x-axis in 3 different points. So whichever points it intersects the x-axis or cuts the x-axis, those becomes the roots of the equation, for which we get y as 0. We have seen all of this, difference between the roots and solutions as well. Okay, then any cubic equation obviously can be also expressed in the factorized form as y is equal to a into x minus alpha into x minus beta into x minus gamma all equal to 0, provided alpha, beta, gamma are the roots of the equation. Same as that of the quadratic, no changes whatsoever, just an additional term. Then how to factorize? Obviously, we are going to figure out some formulae as far as sum of the roots is concerned and the product of the roots is concerned, the way we did for quadratic equation. But here the pattern will remain the same. Now, for example, the last of the equation, the what we did actually here is, just to explain you this entire process in a quick go, we have taken the factorized form of the cubic equation, as you all can see, this one, and we have started multiplying each of the terms with each other, and eventually after all these 3 steps simplification, this is what we end up getting. And now when we compare this with the standard form of cubic equation, which is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d is equal to 0, we are going to figure out the values of a, b, and b, c, and d. So these are the values of b, c, d when you compare with the standard form, and this is going to give us the formula. So for cubic equation, and again remember all these formula because after this has to be a standard practice because there is a pattern involved. So sum of the roots, taking one root at a time, as in alpha plus beta plus gamma is going to be minus b by a. Then sum of the roots taking 2 roots at a time, and if you observe 2 roots at a time is alpha gamma plus beta gamma. The second one will be c by a, as you can see the second formula, and the third one, all of them together, or we would also call them as alpha beta gamma as in product of the roots, which will be minus d by a. So folks, remember this pattern because this pattern will be the one which will be continuing every time, whether it is going to be a cubic equation now or the 4th power or the 5th power or the 6th power. It doesn't really matter. Alternate plus minus is what you should remember. Always start with one at a time. Minus b by a, then c by a, then d by minus d by a, then probably suppose if there is a fourth root, it would have been e by a. So this will be the pattern that you have to remember, and this will make your job easier to figure it out for any of the other higher order equations. Example, suppose there is a fourth power root which has a standard form, simple one, ax raised to 4 plus bx cube plus cx square plus dx plus c is equal to 0. Same thing if you want to figure out, suppose the roots are r1, r2, r3, r4. The first part, sum of the roots taking one at a time, which will be r1 plus r2 plus r3 plus r4 minus b by a. Taking two at a time, c by a. You'll just have to make the accordingly the groupings r1, r2, r2, r3, r3, r4, r1, r3, r1, r4, r2, r4, r3, r4, and so on. C by a, then 3 at a time, which will be minus d by a, and 4 at a time, which will also be called as product of the roots, which will be e by a. So this is how the pattern will be carry forward, and the reason why we are doing this, so that you understand very clearly, this is not very difficult at all. You just need to remember it for cubic equation, and that also is not that difficult because quadratic had the continuing part. I mean, the continuation part from the quadratic will help you for cubic. The part from the cubic will help you for higher order, the fourth power, and so on. So this is the first part, which is introduction to higher order equation and the formula related to that and the different ideas related to that. The second part, if you remember, we said it is inequations and the remainder theorem as well. So first we'll see the remainder theorem. There are two ways to figure out the remainder. One is the synthetic division, which we have been doing since school days. So suppose there is a polynomial and we are going to divide that polynomial by x minus 2. So by any chance, if you remember synthetic division from school days, the first thing that we used to do was, we don't write the entire polynomial. We write only the coefficients part. We ignore the variables. We just write the coefficients. So coefficients are 3 minus 5 plus 2 plus 7 minus 4. Then divisor x minus 2 is the divisor. You are going to equate that with 0. So when you equate that with 0, x minus 2 equal to 0, you get x is equal to 2. The simple trick that you can remember here, if the sign is minus here, minus 2, you are going to take plus 2 here. Okay, just remember like that. If it is plus 2, you are going to take minus 2. Doesn't really matter. Then the first number as it is, copy, paste. After this, what we do is just cross multiply. So 3 2s are 6. 6 minus 5, you get 1. 1 into 2, you get 2. 2 plus 2, you get 4. 2 2s are 4. Sorry, 4 2s are 8. 8 plus 7, 15. 15 2s are 30. 30 minus 4, you get positive 26. So positive 26, always remember the last number, whatever you get plus minus the value is the remainder, and the remaining is the quotient. So remaining quotient will be, because originally the polynomial had a power 4, so the remaining quotient will have the power, cubic power. So it will be 3x cube plus 1x square plus 4x plus 15, and 26 is your remainder. So this is the first method with which you can figure out the remainder using the synthetic division approach. The second method with which you can figure out the remainder is by directly substituting the root in the place of the x in the original polynomial. So for example, in place of x in the original polynomial, you can substitute x is equal to 2 because that is the root. And when you do that, you straight away get the answer. You don't get the coefficient. So synthetic division is slightly long cut one, where you have an additional part of quotient. But if you don't want to do that, because usually examiner will ask you what is the remainder, for that you don't need the quotient, you don't need the synthetic division. But in this particular substitution method, calculation is the key part. You should not make a mistake here, otherwise you will get the wrong answer. So doing the same calculation, in place of x, when you substitute x is equal to 2, you get the same remainder, which is 26 that we got in the previous approach as well. So these are the two methods. You decide what is more convenient to you and accordingly proceed. The next part is higher order inequation. Now this is how we are going to do it with the help of the graph so that you understand it in better way. So suppose there is a polynomial, obviously it is of degree 5 because R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 are the roots. It has been represented in the factorized form. And remember that from cubic equation onward, the graph will be a normal random curve intersecting the x-axis in those many points. So here it will be a curve intersecting x-axis in 5 different points, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, which are the roots of the equation. But now the random curve can be of the two types, and one of them is the red one that we have represented right now on the screen, which is the opening upwards curve. The other one can be a blue one, which is opening downwards curve, something of this sort. Now, how do we decide which curve we are going to plot or which curve we are going to use? So there's a process for that as well, and this is exactly what you are going to use in the solving of the questions. So how do we decide whether we are using the red one or the blue one? I mean, opening upwards or opening downwards, whichever way you want to remember. You need to substitute x is equal to 0 in the original polynomial. If you substitute x is equal to 0 in the original polynomial, and if you get the value of y as positive, if you substitute x is equal to 0 in this polynomial, and if you get y as positive, depending on your numbers, if you get y as positive, you mark or you plot the red curve which is opening upwards. And obviously, when you substitute x is equal to 0 and you get a y ka value as a negative answer, you are going to plot the blue graph which is opening downwards. So first you'll have to decide which graph to be plotted, and then accordingly proceed further. So this is how the selection of the graph will be done, and this is how you'll be solving the questions. So folks, that's it for today. Hopefully we'll see you in the next session. Thank you so much.